if you were watching. But where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs, we use the stuff that gets you drunk. Welcome back to Popcorn and Beers. Ooh, Coors. The banquet beer, Josh. The banquet beer.
Yep, it's made with Rocky Mountain water.
Oh, I thought you were going to say oysters. Not as fun. This is a red from Cyprus because I was running out of time to get back here and film with you guys, and that really freaked me out. That was excellent hair and makeup.
Made your time.
No, I thought you got shot in the eye. But but this is a red from the hills of Cyprus. I think it's the only country in the world with its map on its flag. Jordan. Furiosa. Josh. Yeah. Furiosa.
No.
Furiosa, as Josh likes to say in private all the time.
Yeah, as soon as I get out of the shower, that's my mantra. Furiosa!
That's how he asks his mom for a towel. Furiosa!
Furiosa?
No, so it got bad reviews, essentially. It got kind of like mixed reviews. We'll say mixed reviews. Half and half from a lot of critics. Like if you pull the reviews right now, it's right down the middle, I think. I'd love to see what the audience score ends up being after the weekend, but not a lot of people went out and saw it, which is sad because visually it's great. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, it's a contentious topic right now because it bombed so bad, but it was a good movie, and people are the cinema is dying because of this, and what else? The Fall Guy performed so badly, but they were such good movies, so. And it's a bunch of crap, honestly. It's just
why does it have to be a pendulum now? Can we let's pause for a moment and say, why does it have to be, oh my God, everything's dying, or oh my God, everything's great, or oh my God, we don't get paid, or oh my God, we get paid too much? I'm just kidding, we really don't get paid. Please, can we do something about that? That's an actual issue, because if CEOs can have an increase in their salaries by 250%, I don't know what the hell is going on with
Holla if you hear me!
Anyway. Go ahead, Jordan. But yeah, I had to pause you for a second because I'm so tired of it. It's either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. What happened to the gray?
Yeah, it sucks, man. But it's just like it's a holiday weekend. People are probably camping, vacationing, all that stuff. So whatever. It's nonsense. But anyways, this Furiosa here was a good movie.
This Furiosa, ladies and gentlemen of the court.
This Furiosa.
It was quite a ride. Chris Hemsworth killed this role.
Dementia. Did you really think so? I fight you on this one. I feel like he took me out of the movie.
It was an way over the top character, but he looked like he was having fun doing it. His character's not any more absurd than anything else going on in this movie. There's a guy named like Scrotus and a guy named like Butticus or something stupid like that. Like come on.
Westicles.
It's an overall just ridiculous, kind of it's a very self-aware movie. And you know what? It's not like it has that much to live up to because we're going to get into the originals. Honestly, the original series.
Fury Road was one of the better movies of the last 15 years.
That is correct. Yeah, Fury Road. And speaking of last 15 years, that's cool. That nothing to do with last 15 years. Director has said that he's got a whole situation of scripts that are ready to drop out. He's going to build this world out. This was his first attempt at, not his first attempt, but his first attempt at expanding. So what do we think about that? You think he's going to keep expanding?
Yes, I do. I think he's going to get less funding now.
Yeah, I think there could definitely be like an Immortal Joe spinoff series or movie, just because he is such a weird, interesting character. Like you need an origin story, I guess, for that guy. I don't know if we got one in Fury Road. I think I only watched that in theater, and I haven't really watched it since, other than like bits and pieces. But Chris Hemsworth, I thought it was a good role for him. I think he was having fun doing it. The accent was ridiculous. He sounded like John Cleese the whole time. No time for talking. Goodbye. No time for goodbyes. I loved it. I was just mocking his accent the whole time. It just made it so much more fun. And they're just like,
It was in and out. The accent was in and out. It was in and out. It was always different.
Okay, all right. And they were like, oh man, this guy he's too handsome for this role. So there's like, let's just put a big ugly nose on him. Yeah, let's just put a honker on him.
My note is I literally have a note, prosthetic nose ?
Yeah. The car action was super innovative. It was super cool, and it wasn't spastic. It was very slow. Like you could just see how all these different parts are working and how it actually everything looked really like believable. Like it was like it wasn't too like you could follow everything going on as it was happening. It was just very well shot, very well staged and planned out. Choreographed is the word I'm looking for. The sound of this movie, the sound effects were fantastic. The cars,
sound mixing, sound design, and score, all good.
Yes, the cars sounded. Every vehicle being driven in this just sounded like
the wind.
You could feel it. Yeah, you could feel it in your chest.
Yeah, the wind, the bugs, the sandstorm sounded so authentic, so real, so crisp.
For sure, yeah. All of that, and this world that he has created, it's expansive. Like you were saying, there's a lot here that I think we're bought into. I am for sure, but a lot of the criticism is that people other than online fandom, people in reality, like just the common folk that just watched Mad Max 1, they were like, we didn't really need this prequel and we don't really care about this universe all that much. But what? I think I beg to differ.
It's one of the coolest universes.
I would give this a pop. It is, yeah. It's a great concept, and that it proves the point that the first original 3 movies were so bad, but that the fact that this persevered is just because there is a lot of meat on this bone here.
There's a lot of meat.
Is there?
Yeah.
Do you not think so?
Is there?
I think.
Objection. All right.
All right, Sad Max. So I give this I give this a popcorn and 2.
Wow. Really quick, Jordan's review. Yeah. He's got tons of scripts ready to roll. He's fucking 80. Okay?
Interesting.
Like, how many more can we get from his universe? Like, just thinking realistically, there's only so much more we could do with. Was that Giovanni Ribisi? There's only so much more we could do with this universe before he passes, and then yes, of course, someone else is gonna take on. Yeah, people die if you were wondering. Someone else is going to take up this mantelpiece, and it's going to change, right? So he's trying to lay out the groundwork for someone else to pick up his work and keep going. Yeah. It's going to be, George Miller's legacy. Go ahead, Josh.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, that's exactly right. He's putting a big milestone on it, and that's great. I hope that the world building of the Mad Max universe continues in some form.
I'll take a video game.
There is a video game already.
So no more video games.
so anyway, when we go, he just got the finger, like the biggest middle finger I've ever seen in my screen. So with Mad Max Furiosa, now let's again go back here. Is there a lot we could do? There's a lot of people's stories that can be told, but how many stories are there actually without that? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, where can we
want to know how many stories can be told without people involved? Is that what you just said?
Not what I said. Without it being a background story on a person. Like, not an origin story of Furiosa, an origin story of Mad Max, an origin story of Immortal Joe. Like, where are the stories? Like, when does Kevin Costner show up because the rest of the world is a water world? Who knows?
Okay.
Right? Like,
have you ever seen Star Wars?
All we know is this is a nuclear holocaust. I'm not going to keep with the goalposts. We're gonna stay focused. But what I did like is we're gonna stay focused here for just 2 seconds. All right, just give me 2 seconds. Now, when it comes to Furiosa, did I like the overall movie? It's a poppin' 1. The overall movie's a poppin' 1. It was fine. There were parts that are you sure? But there was a lot of parts where you were just bored. There's a lot of parts where you are just bored. Like, one of the scenes that was meant to be filled with action, one of the chase scenes was so boring, and Jordan liked it. So it just shows you there's different strokes for different folks. I was like, come on, give me something. Like, it's so draggy. And, okay, we're still going with this. Here come the paratroopers in a post-apocalyptic world with nuclear up here. Oh, now we've got hang gliding people. Okay, we can't have them all up. Now we got motorcycles and go-karts. A combination. Oh, there's the Dodge Ram. Like, come on. Like,
he's throwing a turtle shell.
It's all ridiculous. It's on brand. There's no part of this movie that's not ridiculous.
It's just so slow is what I'm saying. It's slowly. How do you slowly develop an action scene where people are murdering each other on a road? Oh, they found a way. All right. Chris Hemsworth also totally takes you out of the movie. Like, I wanted to like Dementis so bad, and I did not. I was like, geez, like every time he talks, I get this feeling. Anyway, shout out Cascada. But it was just really, like, it took you out. You're like, why is he talking? And why does his accent keep changing? Sometimes he's Australian, sometimes he's aloof, sometimes he's a madman, sometimes he's a deity. Like, you don't know what's going on with him ever, except for you think he's pretty crazy, right? And you find that the onset of his crazy was the loss of his family. And I don't think that's a spoiler. Is that a spoiler?
I don't know.
Nah, not really.
I think it's a spoiler. Yeah.
It's not really, yeah.
Also, this is from somebody I was watching the film with. Anya Taylor-Joy takes way too long to make her appearance. Way too long, and then is not in it enough, like, at all. It's like, oh, there she is, and the movie's over. And you're like, really? Because it was really touted as her film, and it's not really her film.
Really?
It's a little kid solving problems. Yeah. But she's in it enough for him to get away with it, is what I'll say.
Wow.
I did want to see more, Jordan, of that world, the world of opulence. That is something I wanted to see more of, and we didn't get to see a ton of it, like, at all. So that world stays hidden, and we don't get any of it. Also, we find out what a dumb little kid she is, which is annoying too. Like, what an idiot. Yeah. But I guess if she's not a stupid little idiot, the whole movie doesn't happen. Like, that's what we get. Like, and that's the truth, right? If she's not just the dumbest little kid that ever existed, this movie doesn't happen. So she has to be stupid, so we get a whole movie. Immortal Joe was great. I wish we got more from him. We didn't get a lot from him. And we got some callbacks to the first one. I really wanted more from the dumb army, especially the first one we run into from Immortal Joe's idiot army. I wanted a little bit more from them, but we only get one thing. They do an homage to the guitar guy. You got to be watching for it.
He said doo-doo.
You got to be watching for it, because if you're not watching for it, it happens real quick. Overall, for world building, we'll see. I think there can be some stuff. Like, there could be a sea tribe, right?
It's over. You're right.
Australia. But what are we going to do with it? We've already. I thought we were going to keep going with this moving forward. We didn't. Anya Taylor-Joy's not going to get a second crack at it, I don't think. I don't think we're going to get another Furiosa. What do you think, Jordan?
No.
I think
I don't think so.
We're going to get a totally different film, maybe even a reboot style film. Go ahead, Jordan.
I think we get a TV series, like an HBO Max TV series on something. I don't know what.
I would buy that.
Maybe. Anyway, pop one for me, but visually beautiful. I will say that. It is very pretty. Jordan's right. Like, though one of the war scenes is kind of boring, they do a lot of cool things with it, right? And granted, not a lot of it's what you want to happen, but maybe it's what we needed to happen. So it was enjoyable. Who knows? Overall, pop one. Josh will get to the theater and see this. This is, like, I give Josh a hard time, but this genre probably is more up his alley than my alley. So I think Josh will probably get to see this.
Blood.
Josh will get to see this eventually and give us a good review. But he did see this week's drunk classic, and it was mine, Boiler Room. Josh, you want to lead us off here? Josh.
You know how, like, when you are, like, just starting to get famous, and look, because you guys are famous, I'm just kidding, but like when an actor's like starting to bubble up, it's starting to happen. Sometimes there's like a hit, kind of like what's her name, Jennifer Mystique from X-Men, Jennifer Lawrence. For a little while, she was in like everything, just for a quick minute. I mean, she's been in stuff since, but she had a wave, and people have waves. And one of these waves was with Ben Affleck, where he just got dumped into movies. And this was one of those movies where clearly he came in for the day, and they recorded all his scenes, and then he effed off.
That's true.
So
That's true, because he has 3 scenes in the movie, and 2 happen in the exact same place, almost with the exact same people.
Same room. How exciting. Anyway, but that doesn't matter because he did a good job at that part. Everyone did kind of a good job at this part. The Boiler Room was a movie that we've seen a bunch of times. Gordon Gekko, which was referenced in a masturbatory way. And then Glenn Ross was also in a masturbatory way cited. This is a movie of the guy who gets into too much money and all I do is work and I can't do it. I can't do like the way he sounds, but he mumbles like a sad dog. Like, I was doing a poker room and my dad doesn't love me. But I still love him. I love him as an actor. I wish he was still around, but I understand why he's not because people are tired of hearing sad puppy dog. Good movie. Not a great movie. Mainly because the ending was what? Okay. Like literally, I rewound a couple times to make sure I didn't miss, like, what? The ending just drops you off a hill. And that's actually in theme with this movie. This movie's about scamming people for their money on the big market and blah, 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 and stealing and what's all that all about. And then they just, like, steal the whole ending from you. You paid money to see this in theaters, hopefully not. And you leave the theater thinking, I paid $10 for no ending? Like, there's no payoff. You invest the money, there's no payoff.
It's
That's
right
what
in
the movie's
line
about.
right in line with Good Will Hunting. No closure. You never know in Good Will Hunting. Does he get the girl? Does he not get the girl? You never know.
Girl. Shut up. Anyway, it's okay. It's not your fault, Fry. It's not your fault. I did enjoy the beginning of this movie. It was funny how they had actually a pretty cool soundtrack. It was hip. They had it was New York. It was all about New York, the hustle, and blah, blah, blah. I didn't particularly think the main character was incredible. There was not really as much redemption as he maybe should have had. Nia Long, I just love Nia Long, so I'm not going to say anything about Nia Long. Everyone else, the lackeys, Vin Diesel before he was Vin Diesel, kind of, and then everyone else.
He had hair.
Yeah, and then who was the
still
prank
has the
guy?
voice.
Who's the prank guy?
Jamie Kennedy?
Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy, yeah.
So
Jamie
all the American Psycho vibe in that era, that part
Way
of the
too
movie
many
was
white
like,
guys saying the N-word.
Yeah.
Woo!
Way too many white guys. I was like, jeez.
But yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. It was a fun movie. I don't necessarily recommend it. The ending falling off so hard, it like really put it down for me. And like, there's not really a good guy, but maybe that's a good thing. Like we all realize, like, oh, I'm awful, and we're all awful, and blah blah blah. That's cool. I'm not mad about that part, but I still give it a popcorn and scooting just into a 1 popcorn and 1 beer.
So I will say, like, I think that the open of this movie is ahead of its time. Like, it's
Okay.
super ahead of its time. And it's like, if you listen to his narration during this, you kind of listening like, oh my goodness, so much of this applies to the world we're living in today with like just people trying to make a quick buck. It's not the same world we used to live in where you go down, you get the job at the McDonald's and you start working and you work your way up through college and everything. It's just too expensive. And I'm like, Gio, boy, have I got news for you. Wait 20 years and you will see where we are at. And it has not gotten better. But thank you, artists, for all your art. You're trying really hard to make it better. You've predicted the future pretty accurately in a couple films we've watched with our Drunk Classics. And we're looking at it, and I'm sitting here like, wow, this was actually exactly what we're going through as a society right now. We're trying to all be millionaires. We can't figure out a way. We don't want to help each other. So here we are. It's got a great cast. I mean, honestly, like Jordan mentioned, Vin Diesel with the hair, Scott Conn, James Caan's son's in it, and he plays a fun character. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Jamie Connolly, John Abrams. There's some ancillary characters I'm looking for in this, like Christopher Fitzgerald's in it.
Spitzer?
You see, like, what's that?
Isn't that his father's name is Spitzer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many like character actors in this movie as well that you're just like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Oh yeah, I know that guy, or I know that girl. I think it was a very, very fun movie to watch again. I agree with Josh, as much as it pains me to say that. The first hour and 20 minutes are, if you go into retail or sales of any kind, the first hour and 20 minutes are so like key. And you've heard a lot of this stuff quoted and said, or in various ways, just pounded into your head about making sales, about how to handle sales. One of my favorite lines is towards the end, on the one day Ben Affleck was there to record, where he goes, look, I don't give a damn what you say. A sale is made on every phone call. Either you sell the customer or the customer sells you on why he can't buy. And I was like, whoo, that was hot. I've never looked at it like
good. And there's ways to look at things, but like so much, a grain of salt. Like you're right. Sure, everyone who's in sales should watch this perhaps. But the whole time you got to be thinking, I have to be okay with being a piece of crap. I am a hollow, awful person, and I'm going to sell Band-Aids today.
Dude, like, welcome to sales, bro. Like, it's hard. Like, if you have the morals, like, if you have the morals, you're just going to get beat by the people that don't. Welcome to politics. Like, if you're the morally conscious politician, you're going to lose to the people that don't have morals. Like, it's just the world. It's just the world.
That's it.
Like, we want to say good guys win. We want to love Marvel, but you're going to lose to the people that don't care. Like, I was telling Anna, my wife, for the audience, on the way home, you know what sucks is you can't shame people that have no shame. They don't care.
Yeah,
that's a good point. You can't shame people that have no shame. You're right. That's great.
Yeah.
So in this movie, I will say it does kind of fall off a cliff when the FBI gets involved, and you're kind of like, bleh, bleh. We don't need any of this. I want to just watch the crew do their thing,
and he doesn't even get the girl in the end because of that. They didn't have to do that to him. Come on.
For me, it is a pop too. It is an essential sales movie. I will say one more thing before Jordan punches his way into this conversation, like Scott Conn did in that bar. The Vin Diesel taking over the living room during the scene from Wall Street, Gordon Gekko's monologue, I would be so pissed off in that room. I would be so angry. Who are you drinking off, Josh?
That's him. That was my impression of Vin Diesel in that scene.
Oh, God. Yeah, I hated it. But in reality, like, put yourself in that room. If you're all watching a movie, we all know that person. I want that person to shut up. I don't care that, we all know the movie by heart, idiot. Shut up.
I sure don't. But but they all did. And that scene was actually one of the most important scenes of the movie, I believe. Just because, like, okay, these guys are going to someone's house. And by the way, look at the house. It looks like a dorm rat who just got $1 billion. And then they're all watching this movie that they definitely have watched 1,000 times in private. And now they're like, let's all go watch this. It was so masturbatory, dude. Like it was a circle jerk of a scene, but that's why the scene was so important, which is weird. It's weird that scene is so cinematographically important, despite the fact that it's so silly.
Well, I mean, think about the ride to the house where Nicky Cat tells him most of these jerks has so much money and they don't know what to do with it, and they're in debt by the 15th, or they're in debt by the 10th, waiting for the 15th to come around.
Yeah.
Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the Wolf of Wall Street, but like an intense thriller drama instead of like being kind of tongue in cheek, loopy adventure kind of thing. There's a lot of good scenes, a lot of like quotable scenes and stuff. Like I love the newspaper call where he's sitting there eating the cereal. And the guy's that's your sales pitch? I mean, come on, man. Sell me a newspaper.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I buy the Times.
I already subscribed to the Times.
Yeah, I really like that scene. It's great. You don't really know what's going to happen next as this movie is kind of unfolding. But when you do find out what happens inevitably in the end, you're like, oh, come on. It's really building you up to like, oh man, like, I'm excited for what's around the corner, but then it's just a wall. It's just a blank wall around the corner.
Oh no, it's the FBI and the movie's over.
Yeah, Vin Diesel was great. The main guy just doesn't have leading guy charisma.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Yeah, it's just very hard to believe.
He plays the role very low key.
He just slicks his hair back, and he's supposed to be the head, the swinging D in the office. Like, no, he's the big guy now. He's the It's like, come on, no. But I do like the guy. He's in another movie that could be potentially a one for me, drunk classic that I pick down the line.
What, God, 60 Seconds?
No. Stop trying to guess.
Fly to the Phoenix?
No. But I give this movie a popcorn in 1.
Okay. Pop in 1. Well, Jordan, what were you? Actually, you know what? Let's switch it up. I know we gave an order in the pre-production meeting, but Josh, let's start with the earliest show.
The earliest show?
What is going on with the earliest show? Because I literally in the production meeting was like, what the hell? Is it just the earliest show ever made? Is it the earliest show you watched? I didn't understand that you were giving me the title to what you actually watched.
No, it wasn't The Birth of a Nation. It was the earliest show. This is a Funny or Die, which is a YouTube college humor thing. I think is long gone. Produced by Will Ferrell overall. But it was a series on YouTube a little while ago, starring and directed by Ben Schwartz and Lauren Lapkus. It's like a Good Morning America type vibe of a show, but it's the earliest show. So it's the low talent and it's way before Good Morning America starts. That's the whole idea. But the whole thing is pretty much improv, entirely so. And there's like 6 or so episodes, and you could put it all together and watch it as a movie. Kind of. It's good. It's funny. It's weird. The storytelling develops in a strange way, but there's a lot of cameos and a lot of guest stars. It's a very funny show. I highly suggest you get on Funny or Die and watch the earliest show. Good improv. But the important thing to mention here is I give that a popcorn and 2 overall. But what's important here is that I recently discovered the earliest show has an outtakes movie. So they say in the very beginning, the earliest show aired and premiered on this time, and then this is mostly improv and blah, blah, blah. Because it's mostly improv, they have an almost feature-length movie that's all just the outtakes. So everyone loves an outtakes reel, right? The bloopers or whatever you want to call them. This is an hour and 4 minutes of straight outtakes. And you don't need to watch the original to just understand how incredibly funny this is. You watch them do multiple takes. Watch them stretch a bit. It's so well done. You can tell even this was edited pretty dang well. It's so funny. Ben Schwartz is an improv king. Lauren Lapkus, I'm not sure if you know her.
Schwartz.
We all love Ben Schwartz. Lauren Lapkus is she's actually the one who invented and I think you should leave, stole it, but it doesn't matter. You see her do it a lot on this show actually. It's anyway, very funny. Nope, she did. Anyway, I give this a popcorn and 3, even if it's just for blooper reels. It's one of the funniest things I've ever saw. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it was a comfort for me a long time ago. I watched it again. I laughed again. It's funny, dude. It's so stupid.
It's so silly.
You're so silly.
You know what also I watched it, and I laughed again. What else did you watch, Josh?
I had lunch, and then I was full. I also watched the new series on Netflix with Shane
Gillis.
Shane Gillis stars and writes, I think, on a show called Tires on Netflix. And this was
also your boy, also Jordan's favorite comedian right now. What is it, Andrew Schultz?
Schultz is in it.
Not my favorite comedian, but
no, the funniest comedian who looks like
haircut.
Hitler.
Yeah.
And then who's the guy? Giannopoulos or Stavros? What's his name?
Stavros Halkias.
Stavros. Yeah.
Oh, the fat guy from Baltimore.
Yeah, he's in it too. There's some big names in it, not a lot, but a few of them. And everyone else, every ancillary character is funny. They do the job. The only character who like didn't really nail anything was the father. There was this whole build up for the father, and it's like just some actor, and he didn't really have much of an impact. That was weird.
Just some actor.
But, guy.
It's so dismissive when you're reviewing movies.
I'm saying though, like
you become such a pro. It's just funny. I think it's funny based on the context of the show, right? We've been doing this, guys? A year and a half. And I love what we do here. I think it's funny. I think it's the best review show on TV. I really do. And it's not just be saying it because we're on it. I think it's actually real and legitimate. And we're not trying to go for bullshit. Like, everything that happens here is very organic. So it's funny when you're so dismissive with your review of, and then his dad arrives, and it's just some fucking guy.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, it was. So, like, my best example of a great drop like that would be the Detroiters, as a Tim Robinson film from before, or not film, show. They finally revealed his father, and it was Kevin Nash. And it's like, and he's got gravitas. So, like, that's a cool drop. And we're waiting for his dad to show up. And, like, when he does, he's like, oh, it's just some actor. Okay.
Yeah, it's like that Abigail movie that I reviewed, when I'm like, yeah, they're building up to like, oh, who's her father? And he's Dracula, and then he shows up, and you're just like, who is this guy? He's like some B series actor that like nobody knows.
What you don't know is he's from the theater.
Yeah,
but
what?
Surely though, this show was really good. It's my new comfort show. I'm going to be watching this over and over. It's filled with bars. Like, so many funny one-liners and so many funny dialogue scenes. It's nothing but, it's just sketch humor, but filled in with a light storyline. It's so good. There's so much room to grow. Very authentic in a lot of ways. Like, I've been there. The workplace humor, inappropriate, blah blah blah, joking about sneaking a beer and blah blah. It's just good. Middle management bullshit. The whole satire of
humor.
Yeah, if you like The Office, you're probably gonna love this because it's got that sort of vibe. But it's not The Office. It's not that. It's not this. It's its own thing. I love it. I love it. Popcorn and 3 tires.
Yeah, Jordan, you also watched it. Would you similar opinion?
Yeah, totally. It's caveman humor. It's dumb, jock locker room.
But
yes,
women like it too. That's my question. Is it just made for dudes?
Maybe.
Is it a bro bomb, or is it actually made for everyone?
I don't know.
It's not everyone. Not everyone. Test it on
Anna. You have to let us know. Make Anna watch an episode.
Anna will not.
You will.
Anna was with me in Furiosa, and she was not having it. She was like,
"Please let her watch one episode, please, bro. Please, bro.
Let her. She's a grown woman that runs my house. She can do whatever she wants, but I don't think she'll sit down and watch it.
Okay, make her stand up and just like do chores while it's on.
Wow, calm down, Harrison Butker.
It's a good show. It's very short, 6 episodes. Some of them are 20 to 30 minutes a piece, so you could sit down and knock this out in like an hour and 40 minutes, shorter than a short movie. Shane Gillis, they force him sometimes into every scene, which is okay because he's funny even when he doesn't have to say much in a scene. He could just be standing in the background. He kind of just makes a face at an interaction between two characters.
His
and
face
it's funny.
Communicates so much. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's funny. The main guy is so dweeby. Other than Shane Gillis, the actual guy that runs the shop, he is so kind of just awkward and dweeby looking. You're kind of just like, does this guy have some kind of affliction going on with him? He's very kind of peculiar looking.
He's an ass man.
But then I guess. But he earns his
WWE.
He earns his cred. You at the end of the show, you were like, okay, this is they build his character well in a very short amount of time. And
the relationship between him and his cousin Shane Gillis. So like how Shane Gillis is such a villain towards him, but then they laugh about things, and it's so organic. It's so funny. It's good.
Yeah, it's. I really like this show. It's something I'll definitely watch again. It's definitely something I want to show people. Like all of my bros, everyone. I'm like, we're gonna sit down. We're gonna watch this. Like this is hilarious. I give it a popcorn and 2.
Nice.
Poppy 2.
Yeah.
What else was on the agenda?
Yeah.
Well, me, Josh.
No, Josh
I'm
is
out.
done. Josh is so done. Josh ran out.
Well, in preparation of watching Furiosa, I watched the original 3 Mad Maxes with lunatic Mel Gibson, and lunatic man Mel Gibson, and
I feel like that should be like a slogan here for all like the failed crazy people that we end up like Diddy. It should just be like a lunatic segment.
yeah, I think
Nope, this guy just sucks.
I mean, yeah, he got the worst teardown job probably of all time by South Park, which is saying a lot. Like they really eviscerated him. But anyways, Mad Max 1 was on Peacock for some reason, just part 1. And this movie was terrible. It's been mentioned in a couple episodes ago. Josh mentioned it's bad. It has no budget. It was like a independent student film kind of caliber. No exposition.
It's filmed
no
in
plot.
the backyard, dog. Like there's backyard scenes and like let's go down to the creek and
the creek. We're gonna go down to the creek and film a couple scenes. No exposition, no real plot. The dialogue is awful. There's just like a random weird scene where like his baby is playing with a gun, and nothing comes of it. His baby is just sitting in the middle of the living room playing with his gun, and you're like, oh my god, that this is gonna be why he turns into a Mad Max because this tragedy happens. But no, it's just no reason. His baby's playing with a gun, nothing happens. I guess his baby plays with guns all the time. All this other crazy stuff is happening, and they're getting invaded by these marauders and all that, and they're freaking out, running around, but they leave their baby outside just on a picnic blanket, and surprise, surprise, the baby is gone. I guess they really just don't like this baby.
Surprise, surprise, the baby is gone.
Yeah. It's,
Oh, man.
Jordan
sitting in his living room like, what did you think was going to happen, idiots?
I believe that they literally stole the plot for the Saw movie, the original Saw movie, from this movie. Because at the end of the movie, he chains a guy to a truck that's leaking gas, and he, does this weird little contraption where he's like, and he gives him a hacksaw and says, hey, hack your own leg off. You have about 30 seconds to hack your leg off before this thing blows up and you're dead, and leaves him there. And Mel Gibson also kind of runs like a girl, which is not like saying a bad thing.
With that. There's
Girls run very fast and they are great athletes, but there's a particular style of running that is reminiscent of a awkward, I don't know. I'm sorry. It's a dated term, but he runs like a girl. I'm going to double down on it. Sorry. I didn't know
I've been watching Tires all week, and I feel like this humor is okay now.
I didn't know how to spin. I didn't know how to spin that to make it okay, digestible, but it's not. They kill the dog. It's a cool concept. A cool concept was birthed here, if anything was accomplished at all. It's a popcorn.
Poppy.
It's a popcorn.
That's Mel Gibson running.
Each one of these 3 movies, I'm just going to get this out of the way, are a popcorn. All 3 movies, Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, are all popcorns, individually and collectively popcorns. The Road Warrior, weird-ass opening scene. This is where they start to introduce a lot of gender ambiguity. You're not sure who's a guy, who's a girl. There's a lot of studded cod pieces. The villain is pretty much Jason Voorhees, with an accent that kind of sounds like he's Spanish. Mm-hmm. But this is obviously in Australia.
Okay.
They kill the dog in this movie as well. There's a feral kid that looks like Joe Dirt. lot of nudity for the sake of nudity. Just okay, let's we're driving through the desert and there's a chase scene and we drive past a random tent in the middle of the desert and we drive so fast that the wind knocks the tent over and there's two people having sex under the tent. It's like, okay, cool.
Good.
So that's what we're dealing with here.
Oh, those are eyeballs. Thanks, Josh.
And it wouldn't be complete. It would not be a complete 80s just corntastic cheesy movie without just a weird unnecessary montage. Popcorn. Moving on. Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. They had some
We're still going.
Yes.
Dome.
There was some continuity built from the last movie into this one. Tina Turner's in this one, and she's great. She looks great. She acts. She's having fun. She adds something to this movie. The villain, but becomes the ally. I guess that is Tina Turner. There's a lot of that going on. Master Blaster is a dwarf.
Master Blaster
is the bad guy. And it is a little person sitting on the top of the shoulders of a very large man who has some sort of mental handicap. And that's the villain. There's some problematic stuff here. It sets certain marginalized groups back quite a bit, but in all fairness, at this time they hadn't really gained much. So it was just of its time, is what I'm trying to say. The Thunderdome itself was a cool concept that a lot of movies use, but they totally just ruined it. Like the general introduction of this concept was cool. Like, oh, two guys in a dome, two enter, one man leaves. Here are some weapons. But they make them fight on suspension, like bungee wires.
Like unnecessary.
Why? They didn't need to do that at all. Yeah. And the movie is titled The Thunderdome, Beyond the Thunderdome, but the Thunderdome only plays like 5 minutes of this movie, and there's no other reference. It has no other significance whatsoever for the rest of the movie. And then it gets kind of
waiting though. Dane Cook with Thunderdome reference.
Yeah, it gets Peter Pan, Lost Boys for like the rest of the movie with some random nonsense. Yeah, popcorn, terrible movies. All three of these are terrible movies.
All right.
So then I watched, I had to watch a documentary. I got a documentary, and it's been a little while since I watched a solid documentary. So I watched this one called Power. It is basically a history of police forces, the way we police in America.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, and surprise, surprise, it's rooted in racism and slavery. Yeah, it's a good documentary. It's just, the thing is, it's not any information that I think that most of us with any common sense don't kind of already know.
Well,
there's a large group of people, as we all know, that will watch this and go, "Oh, this is race baiting, guilt, woke propaganda." But it's good. It has good suggestions built into the movie on how we can try to fix things, which is important. Other than just going, these are the problems. They're actually saying this is what we can do. It was good. It was good. It moved pretty fast for as heavy of a conversation that it is. I give this a popcorn and 2.
What did you rate Tires, by the way?
Tires, I gave a popcorn and 2 as well.
Pop 2 as well, and Josh gave it a pop 3. Okay, and you gave this one a pop 2.
Yeah.
So you got past some of the other stuff.
Yeah. It was it's good. I don't know. I watched
good review. I don't know.
It was good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. The 8 Show. I watched The 8 Show on Netflix. And
you started that before.
Yes, I had started it, and I actually finished it. Cookies?
It looks like Chucky grown up. Anyway.
It was a Korean show, kind of trying to ride the lightning of Squid Games. It is a game show that inevitably ends up in some do or die consequences kind of thing. uh, it's like it's basically the premise of the show is is this capitalism, socialism, or communism? The game show. It's like it's kind of like they have to build their own society, and it's based on levels where they each make different amounts of money, and
Levels, Jerry.
they try to
Levels.
figure out different systems on the way to govern themselves, and it just plays on those different capitalism, all that, what works and what doesn't work and why it doesn't work. And it's good. There's a lot of different dynamics at play, sometimes too much. But there's always an element that's introduced in this that you're like, oh, you think, like, I get where this is going, but there's something you're like, oh wait, I didn't really think of that. Like, they have to consider these different elements of it. It's so much to describe to somebody. It's very hard to describe this show in a nutshell and be like, this is what I liked about it. It's a lot going on. The characters are a little cluish. They're just a little too, like, they're very one dimensional. Like, this guy's the nerd. This is the hot girl. This is the thug. This is the, there are a lot of obvious solutions to a lot of the problems. They couldn't land this plane. It was good. It was building up. It's a little bit of like a torture porn kind of situation that gets going on here for quite a bit of it. It gets a little torturous, like, oh God. But I give this a popcorn and 1. They just couldn't land it. It was fun. It was a fun ride, but it didn't pay off well.
You really preached it in last week's show. You were saying, I hope everybody's into this. I hope people like it. And it didn't end well, huh? I
prefaced it with a way too early review. I said that, like, this is my 2 episode in. This is going to be something. It's definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. I did you Jordan. I did a Jordan, and I watched stand-up comedy. And every once in a while, I'll work these in here. I did Rachel Feinstein's Big Guy as a background noise show while I was eating dinner, It was a lot of, can you relate to that? Can you relate to this New York Jewish woman's humor? Can you relate to that? You guys get it, right? You've been there. And I'm just like, no. Some of it I could. Like, a couple jokes I laughed at. But a lot of it was, I can't relate to you. And it's funny because the joke that made me laugh the hardest was she goes to an old folks home and she goes, she got criticized. And she goes, an old lady yelled out, can you talk about stuff we can relate to? And I was like, yes. Why didn't you take notes? Why did you even acknowledge that it happened? You said fair criticism and then continued doing comedy that only a few people can relate to. There's a vast wide audience, and it was a popcorn. So Rachel Feinstein, I mean, she tries real hard. She's made a living doing it. She pats herself on the back for getting her Netflix special. I'm sure she's going to get movies and stuff with Netflix. Everyone does. But it was a popcorn. It was definitely a popcorn. Next, I watched It again. It's not the original from the 90s, the remake of the original with Skarsgård. And I will say this, it holds up. Popcorn and 1. You've seen it. You don't need to watch It 2. But this one, it holds up. You've got the bullies that take things way too far. But, of course, the bully is tormented by his father, tale as old as time. I don't know. Don't be a dick. All right? So I give that one a popcorn and 1. Then I watched a film that, honestly, probably nobody's ever heard of, and I had never heard of it. And I was just cruising Amazon, when you're looking for just something to watch, and all the new stuff hasn't come out yet, or you're waiting until Friday, and you're just like, oh, I feel like I've seen everything. Well, this popped up, and it had Allison Janney, Benjamin Platt, Kristen Bell, and I was like, oh, a couple good actors. I like all of them. Let's check this out. And it was called The People We Hate at the Wedding. I gave it a pop 1, but it was a cute movie. It wasn't good. I want to be clear. It's not a good movie, but you're going to laugh. The dialogue is witty and funny. The concepts are played out, but the actors draw you in with their performance, and they just get put in pretty hilarious situations. For instance, Benjamin Platt, of course, plays a gay man, the gay brother. We all know this. That's his role in almost everything except for Pitch Perfect, right? So he plays this role, and he starts crying in a boat in England. They're like boating somewhere. They're like on a ferry, and he's crying because he failed at a threesome. Like, he wasn't able to do a threesome with his boyfriend, and he's crying. He's like, I feel like no matter what I do, it's never good enough for you. And the guy looks at him crying, and he goes, I think we need to break up. And he's like, you're breaking up with me? And that just the way they acted it out was very funny. It's I can't know. I feel bad about the not knowing the actor's name, but you know the cab driver in Deadpool, the cab driver. Yeah, that's the boyfriend. That's the boyfriend that looks at Benjamin Platt and goes, "I think we need to break up."
He's funny.
And it was just very well acted. It's very humorous. Again, it's a story we've seen a bunch of times, but Popcorn and One, it was funny for what it was. Then I watched The Four Lions with an actor you guys have all heard of from The Sound of Metal, Riz Ahmed. He's great also in The Night Of. I love him. He's one of my favorite up-and-coming actors. This is 2010, so around the start of his career, where basically a bunch of idiots try to become terrorists. And they want to be terrorists, and it all goes awry. It's a comedy that could literally never get made in today's world. Ever, ever, ever. It is on Netflix, though. The concepts, nothing stands up. Everything in it would not be made today. But if you were in the mood to shut off your brain and not be cognizant of the world around you and just laugh for a little bit, it is pretty funny. The ending is not funny. The ending is heartbreaking. That's what I will say. The ending is absolutely heartbreaking. But Four Lions, we will give it a popcorn. But if you want to take a time machine back to 2010 and figure out what was okay to do and get away with, especially in England, go watch Four Lions. It is a popcorn. Now we get to Josh. It is Josh's drunk classic.
I had one more.
You had one more.
I had one more. I went to the theaters. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, that's right. You did go to the theaters and you watched an animated film, didn't you?
I did. I watched Garfield. And it wasn't good.
The shame in your voice. Oh.
Yeah.
I told you it wasn't going to be good on last week's show. I said they've already failed twice.
I was genuinely excited for this movie. I really did. I wanted to watch this. I was not forced into it, but it was just not good. It started good. They stayed very true to, the source material, the comics and all that. But just the novelty of that wore off about 30 minutes into the movie. And they were like, okay, now we have to make an actual movie with like a plot. And instead of doing that, they're just like, let's just keep introducing more talking animals.
Yeah.
And it went nowhere. I give this a popcorn, hardly a popcorn. I don't.
So we have Inside Out coming out as a butter on top in a couple weeks. I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited for that too. Yeah.
And I really hope it's good. And it's only guys. It's an hour and 27 minutes.
Nice.
Oh, I thought you were like, it's just guys. It's all guys in the movie. Guys.
Bros inside me.
Oh.
All right, Josh. It is your drunk classic week.
Well, dude, it's a 1997 film. It is largely known as one of the greatest animes ever. We're going to watch the feature film, hour and 20 minutes. Make sure when you download it, you get your dubbed or your subtitled. You figure out which one's more important to you. Remember, when you're watching this movie, it's all hand-drawn. We're watching Perfect Blue. And Fry, I'm going to challenge you. Perfect Blue. Fry, I challenge you to tell me which movies obviously ripped this film off. Which Hollywood movies obviously ripped this film off when you watch it?
Avatar. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a mind bender. It's kind of horror. It's surreal. It's wild. Perfect Blue. Watch it.
Okay. I'm so excited about not being able to do anything else while this movie's on because I have to read subtitles.
You have to watch. It's animated. Every frame is hand drawn. Of course, you have to sit down and watch it. You can't fold laundry.
We're back to Van Gogh all over again. But Van Gogh actually worked out for Josh. That ended up being a pretty good movie. For our Butter on Top this week, we are watching an HBO original, M.I.O.K., starring Dakota Johnson. That is courtesy of Jordan. Jordan found that for us, and he said, hey, guys, this is coming out. So that is our Butter on Top this week. We will see you at the movies. As always, you bring the popcorn, and we got the beer.